You know what some of them have got in their bio? If we don't agree on Palestine, don't swipe right.
It's a good warning, isn't it? Because if you don't agree on Palestine, the last thing you want to do is to go out with somebody who's a Palestine action activist.
Or you can antagonise them, and that would make the lovemaking even more passionate.
Palestine action? No. Do me a bloody favour.
What did you used to smoke, Cliff?
For the last 20 years, I smoked, would you believe, Silk Cut Ultra.
Oh, that's not smoking.
The point being that my father died of lung cancer, but on his deathbed, he said, Claire, I want you to promise me you'll go down to Silk Cut Ultra. Because he knew I'd never give up smoking.
Rank these national brews. Okay, Claire, let's do it. We've got Yorkshire, we've got PG Tips, we've got Tetley and Typhoon.
I don't really drink tea.
Oh my, get out. Hello and welcome to Francis Foster Sorts Your Life Out, the show where I indeed sort your life out. Bear in mind, I'm not a psychotherapist, therapist, physiotherapist, any of that, which means you know that my advice is absolutely golden. Every week, or most weeks, I bring on a guest, and today it's one of my favourite people in the entire world, on the planet. It's Baroness Claire Fox. How are you?
I'm delighted to be here. Nerve-wracking to think that I might be asked how to sort anyone's life out, but I'm going to give it a go.
No, you're going to be brilliant. You're going to be brilliant. You are the exact woman for the job. Are you the type of auntie that people come to and go, Auntie Claire, I'm seeing three men at the same time. Which one should I pick? Do you deal with those kind of problems?
No, I'm the kind of person that when people come to, they know they're going to get a kind of brutal, no-nonsense reply. So there's the danger that I'm the last person you go to when you've got a problem. But yes, people bring me their problems all the time, so bring it on.
Bring it on. So you give brutal, no-nonsense replies. Do they tend to be delivered in terse, one-word statements?
Oh, no, I'm not. God knows I'm not a one-word type, am I? I do ramble on a bit. So, no, I go into great detail about what they should do, what they shouldn't do, and so on and so forth.
Well, you sound perfect for the show, and I knew you'd be perfect for the show, Claire. So let's get the first question up. Dear Francis, I'm 35, a lecturer in London. My uni's obsessed with inclusive language, workshops, and trigger warnings for everything. I got told off for assigning a problematic novel. Are UK universities just daycares for oversensitive adults now?
Yes. I mean, it's a disaster because I'm the kind of person who wants to defend academia.
Yeah.
I think that universities are the lifeblood of developing new knowledge, of the repository of passing on to new generations the best that's known and thought. You know, they should be exciting, intellectual, risk-taking places where you really push thought to its extreme, really think about things.
And a great place to get laid as well.
Of course. Well, that's part of the risk, right?
Yeah.
Part of the risk is that you go out and you do things that are a bit daft, really.
Yeah.
But it's a coming of age, for those people who go to university at, for example, 18, you're leaving home. It's exciting.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a shocker from the locker to discover that these days, young people go to universities and the first thing they do is demand to be protected and looked after in a safe space by the authorities. I mean, you think, God, isn't this your opportunity to break the shackles of adulthood, and you're looking for comfortable protection and you're scared of words and so on. So that's one thing. But one of the problems is, as our problems, the person who's seeking our answer to the problem is that half of the lecturers are just as bad. I mean, a lot of the ideas around social inclusion, using the right language, all of these codes that EDI insists on, or DEI, whichever of the acronyms you use, what they're basically doing is policing thought, narrowing it in, and this is coming from a group of academics who think that the only thoughts that should be thought at university are those that are approved within a very narrow spectrum of what the Equality, Diversity and Inclusion Officer believes to be the truth.
Do you know what it is? And I will be interested in your opinion on this, right? I call these people, I know you wouldn't endorse this language, Claire, but I call them woke minges, right? And I found in comedy, the woker the minge, the more despicable the human being in their private life. Because it's that kind of dichotomy where you've got to appear to be good, but in your private life, almost to compensate for your appalling behaviour in private life. We could almost call it the Savile complex.
Well, I don't know. So I have to say that one of the downsides of being a critic of these people is that I'm not intimately au fait with the wokesters of the world. So I don't know what they're doing in their private lives. One can only speculate.
It's disgusting.
All I can tell you is that in terms of their public life, they're joyless, right? So that's one of the things that, you know, if your life is spent being a snitch, going around correcting people's P's and Q's, the equivalent of today, and saying, what do you mean? Use this pronoun, and so on and so forth. Can't take a joke, all the rest of it. And you just think, I don't want to spend any time with their private lives, right? So if they're kind of like, in some ways, if you're telling me that really, that secretly they kind of react in their private life by having a kind of degenerate wild time, that's actually good, because I just think, well, at least they're not the kind of absolutely sanctimonious, self-regarding narcissists that I see all the time.
Yeah.
But I think that one of the things that we can say is that it's about them looking down on people. This is about a kind of elite formation, whether they know it or not. So they all think they're anti-elitist, but actually what they're doing is they're saying, you can be part of the new ruling authority in this university if you speak the right language, if you learn how to pronounce things in the correct way, if you've got the right attitudes. And it's just like ye olden days when they used to do that and train up the elites. That's what they're doing now. And basically, it's a way of separating themselves off from the oiks and the plebs. And you have to know the language, otherwise they kick you out and they kind of say, oh, you're uneducated, which is why one of their phrases is educate yourself. But they don't mean read books. They mean follow the particular educational path that we set you and read only these books. Otherwise, you'll be expelled as a blasphemer.
Do you know, so I'm 43, Claire, you are right. I don't look it, thank you. And I'm back on the dating scene, and I've noticed young ladies are very woke, and I'm doing the whole, it's not speed dating. What's it called, Jack? Internet dating, that's the one. And, you know, there's a lot of ladies are very woke now. You know what some of them have got in their bio, Claire? If we don't agree on Palestine, don't swipe right, which is don't pick me.
Mind you, it's a good warning, isn't it? Because if you don't agree on Palestine, the last thing you want to do is to go out with somebody who's a Palestine action activist. So you might as well know straight away.
Or you can antagonise them, and that would make the lovemaking even more passionate.
Palestine action? No. Do me a bloody favour. But no, there is a problem, which is that people have become very tribal about politics in a way that's very unhelpful. So people will say, oh my God, I can't possibly have a relationship. You know, well, remember it started around Brexit, and I know that we didn't necessarily agree on that question, but I'm just saying where people would literally say, anyone who votes leave is so disgusting that I couldn't possibly go for a drink with them, let alone have a snog with them. You know what I mean? Like that would be the kind of thing. So it became this sort of, they are untouchable if they've got a different point of view. And I'm afraid, by the way, a lot of people on the anti-woke side are just as bad. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, you know, caricaturing everyone that's kind of like slightly left of centre as some sort of mad pinko commie is unhelpful too. So I would, of course, suggest that, you know, you swipe, I don't know which way around it is.
Right.
I'm not on the dating scene. But that you actually follow up some of the people who warn you not to. But I think on the Palestine question, even I'd find it stomach churning. I mean, I really don't think going on a date, even just for the most carnal reasons, I don't think I could do that with somebody who had fully embraced anti-Semitism. I think I'd find that tough.
What happens if they were 10 out of 10?
Yeah, but I've always thought that 10 out of 10 people, once they open their mouths and say stupid things, rapidly become 2 out of 10. Do you know what I mean?
But that's why you get drunk, Claire.
No, I do like the odd sentence that makes sense. I just don't. It's stomach churning to be with someone who's either so self-regarding or so politically right on. I mean, no, you just have to have a little bit of leeway, don't you?
Yeah, I think so. I think,
and at least they've got to have a sense of humour.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've already said that too many people in a particular branch of politics are humourless because they've basically adopted a kind of Stasi-like role in society.
Yeah.
And their role is to go around policing everybody else. And I'm just saying, I don't care how drunk you are. That's not. Well, they're the kind of people who'd be reporting you for getting drunk for a start off. You'd never survive.
Yeah, that is true.
My advice on dating scenes, not necessarily one to be taken seriously by the nation, though, because it's been a while.
Fair enough. All right, so let's go back to the question. Are universities just daycares for oversensitive?
Oh, they are. They definitely are. I forgot that bit.
Yeah.
The daycare bit's very important, because if 18, 19, 20-year-olds are infantilized to such a degree, you just end up feeling like they're just an extension of childhood by another 3 or 4 years. So all of that intellectually exciting period that they could be having, or that in fact the society could be gaining the insights of, is just completely wasted in the kind of cry-bullying atmosphere. But just to remind ourselves, there's a substantial minority of young 18-year-olds who hate all this Generation Snowflake stuff and are reacting against it, and have started to organise, I think, very effectively around free speech issues. So.
And they're starting to organise very effectively around Andrew Tate, which is mildly worrying.
Well, yeah, because the reaction will be, well, that's actually an infantile reaction. Because the idea is not that you kind of go, oh, these prats over here are saying this, so I'm going to be going for the absolute extreme end prat on the other side. I mean, that's not very helpful, is it?
No.
I mean, so all I'm saying is, think about it, but you are allowed in your backlash moment to at least say, I'm going to go that far, and then sensibly think, no, actually, I just want to be an independent thinker. I came here to think. I'm growing up. I'm now an adult. I can think for myself. I'll read whatever book I want. I'll argue about whatever I want. I'll go to whatever meeting I want. Anyway, I was just going to say that at the Academy of Ideas, we work with this organisation, well, you know, one of our sister organisations that are organising Living Freedom, which is for 18 to 30-year-olds this weekend. And it's basically a gathering of those young people who are not prepared to be infantilised and behave like they're in a playpen.
Okay.
So that's good.
That is good. So what you're saying, Claire, is that you're not a fan of Top G.
No, not really. It's not. Look at me. I'm meant to be. I'm a baroness, you know. And
You are.
And I'm getting on.
Yeah.
So I have to basically look as though I've got some decorum.
Yeah. Jack's a fan of the Top G.
It might not, of course, last by the end of this podcast, but anyway, that's the plan.
But Jack's a fan of the Top G. Yeah, tomorrow he's going to go in. He's got the day off tomorrow. He booked it in, so he's going to get his Cobra tattoo done.
Oh.
And he's going to start doing content with just him. I mean, he can't afford cigars with what we pay him. So he's going to get, you know, the Hamlets from the newsagents, and he's going to smoke them. And he's got a Morris Minor, so he'll be doing it with his top off.
Bloody hell! I feel like I've just wandered in on some sort of like I can't quite decide whether that's a sort of like semi-pornographic image that one is meant to. So I'm not thinking about it because I'm a baroness and I'm old.
Yeah,
and I'm not meant to go there.
Jack has no problem with you objectifying him. Right, next one, Jackie. Right, let's talk about grooming. Not that kind, the proper kind. If you want to tidy things up downstairs without looking like you've lost a fight with a hedge trimmer, the new Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra in the white hot edition is the tool for the job. It's got skin-safe technology, dual blades, and even a light, because shaving your crown jewels in the dark is a terrible idea. Trust me, I've done it. Ooh, not good. It's waterproof too, so I can sort myself out in the shower and pretend I've got my life together. Of course I have. Look at me. Plus, the white and gold design, very slick. Looks like it belongs in James Bond's toiletry bag. There's a reason we've been working with Manscaped for 3 years now. Because they pay us. Of course they do. They're reliable like that. No, because they're the best. The quality of their products and customer service standards are second to none. Go to manscaped.com and use code TRIGGER15 for 15% off your entire order. That's TRIGGER15 at manscaped.com. Trim like a gent, look like you meant it. Doesn't even rhyme. Okay, here we go. Dear Francis, I'm 28, a nurse in Birmingham, paying taxes through the nose. Meanwhile, the government's blowing billions on a rail project. They'll never reach me. My hospital's got no beds, but sure, let's build a fancy train. Is this how taxpayer money just vanishes?
So first of all, I actually wish that they'd build a bloody fast train. So I don't want to like have a choice between should nurses get paid a decent wage and the NHS be saved, or we have slow trains. I do appreciate that the HS2 debacle was a debacle, but I think it's more an indication or a sign of the times that it has become impossible to have a high-speed train in the United Kingdom without it almost bankrupting the country.
Mm-hmm.
We've ended up spending enough money to bankrupt us and not getting the train. There's something wrong with the levels of productivity, the over-regulation that has stopped us creating decent transport infrastructure. And having had a rather challenging journey today. And
Is that because we shared a train?
Yeah, no, exactly. Having had the usual tube collapse, but I also get Avanti quite a lot going up the northwest, and I'm not kidding you. It is enough to take years, to add years to your life, rather, because I can't bear that nothing works. It just drives me mad. Having said that, of course, taxpayers' money should be used appropriately.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing more irritating than basic services like health services falling apart. But I just think it's part of the same thing. It's not a choice of either or, and it shouldn't be. The thing that's most distressing about the health service at the moment is that, for once, I thought with the new Secretary of State, Wes Streeting, he started talking about that the NHS is not fit for purpose. We've got to be able to look at it. It's not a sacred cow that you're not allowed to discuss. I thought, great. He then talked about reform, seriously changing everything. Anyway, he said all that, and we haven't. That's it. He just keeps saying it. It never does it.
Yeah.
And so one of the problems we've got is we've got a health service that actually is as useless as HS2 in many ways, right? It's brilliant in certain areas. If you've got cancer, if you've got a serious illness, it can be a fantastic resource. But for everyday help in getting health concerns solved, it's terrible. And it's also become highly politicised. So we just talked about universities. I don't know if you've looked at the kind of charters that the NHS have got. They've completely bought into equality, diversity and inclusion.
Yeah.
If you're actually a nurse in Birmingham or a person who contacted in, then you'll find that you can't get changed. The majority of nurses are women, but you can't get changed without, and guarantee your changing rooms could well be invaded by somebody identifying as a woman, and your union won't defend you. So Sandy Peggy in Scotland, who objected to a man who identifies as a woman using the women's changing room for nurses to get changed, is now having to sue the Royal College of Nursing. The British Medical Association, the doctors' trade union, yesterday came out and said it does not recognise the Supreme Court ruling, and therefore that anyone who identifies as trans should have gender-appropriate care and so on and so forth. So, they're playing all these same games. So it is like a student union in preference to straightforwardly protecting the staff who work for the health service, but ensuring that the health service is fit for purpose.
Look, I quite agree with you. The NHS is something that we all dearly love. I have, enormous amounts of respect and love for it. I don't think we'd all be here without the NHS. And do you know what? I like Wes. I think out of all the Labour politicians, he's the one I genuinely like the cut of his jib.
Yeah, no, well, first of all, he's been quite brave.
Yeah.
Because he actually came out and supported, for example, the CAS review, which was about not giving young people puberty blockers, for example. And he was prepared to embrace that. Now, it's not popular in Labour circles.
No.
He said that about the NHS.
And he did that as a gay man. So, which goes against that particular...
Exactly,
I don't like the term community, but yeah.
No, but there is, because there's also, particularly amongst there's a kind of gay men in politics group who have completely embraced the TQI plus side rather than defending lesbian and gay rights, as in the lesbian, gay, bisexual, LGBT alliance, for example, who basically say, let's divorce from the T. Anyway, he was prepared to divorce from the T. He was prepared to say, I'm going to say something unpopular. But he also, by the way, has recently commented, and I really agree with him on this, that there's a serious problem of overdiagnosis of people who see themselves as too ill to work. And I think he's right. I think that overdiagnosis has become a real problem. It's a kind of affirmation of anybody who says they've got anxiety. And this has been relativised into being the same as somebody who's got schizophrenia. And so what you get is 2,000 people a day signing off on the sick. And Wes was prepared to say something very unpopular on that, but honest. So, I don't know, how far I'd take it, but I've really admired some of the things that Wes Streeting has said. And I think it's important not to be sectarian about these things, which is, he's a Labour cabinet member and he's a Secretary of State. But when he says the right thing, tick, gets
Yeah.
endorsement from me. Doesn't mean I'm suddenly pro-Labour. But in exactly the same way, I think that we should listen to what the politicians are saying rather than simply reading the label and rejecting or accepting depending on that label.
You are wearing a red jacket.
Oh, yes. That is, I don't know why that is.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's because I'm a old lefty, really.
Yeah. So pro-Labour.
I'm not
Vote
pro.
Kim.
I'm sat with God.
I'm joking. I'm
No,
joking.
I know. I just want for every viewer to realise that I can't tell you how much I despise the contemporary Labour Party in general, which is why when I say that Wes Streeting is a guy worth listening to, that is a very positive thing. But it's also the case that I despise the contemporary Conservative Party.
Oh,
so,
I hate them.
I've got a non-discrimination approach to the political parties. Can't stand any of them.
Yeah, I despise, because people, especially in the comment industry, go to me, "Oh, you're a Tory," and I'm like, I hate the Tories, but I hate the Tories differently to you because I'm actually informed about politics. So I've actually got valid criticisms. You just think they're evil. I think they're crap, corrupt, and incompetent.
Yeah, thank you for that very endorsement of my kind of I think they're evil. I don't think they're evil at all. I'll tell you why I particularly despise the Conservatives. Because in 2019, millions of particularly working class people voted for Boris Johnson on the basis of seeing Brexit through and a political reset. And the betrayal, the sense of betrayal, Boris Johnson had that. And I, by the way, wrote an article for The Spectator, in a Dear Boris letter. I'm sure he read it. But anyway, I wrote an article with Dear Boris. And I said, I want you to note that these votes are on loan. You know, they haven't all become Tories. They are basically trusting you to do certain things. And I remember I got an email from someone at Number 10, of all things, not Boris, but saying, just so that you know, we're all very aware of the fact that those voters from Red Wall seats are not actually simply voting Boris Johnson because they become Tories. So don't worry, he's very conscious of it, and we're very humble in the face of those votes, etc., etc. And undoubtedly, by the way, there was an element of them acknowledging that when they offered people like myself, Kate Hoey, Geezer Stewart, a peerage in the House of Lords, that we were the kind of red wall crowd to kind of nod to the working class. Oh, look, we've listened to you. Anyway, that lasted about 3 seconds because the same person who sent me from Number 10, the kind of don't worry, we know, about a year later said, yeah, sorry, we screwed that up. And that's what they did. Absolute contempt shown to ordinary people who voted for them. So it's not a question of I hate Tories per se or I hate Labour per se. It's gauge them on what they're doing at any given time. And I particularly hate this version of the Labour Party, which is an identitarian party. But also, I thought they might be competent when they came in this time, and they've been useless. And also, one of the first things they did when they got into power was to tear up the Higher Education Free Speech Act. And I mean, they've kind of restored it heartedly because there was a big campaign against it. But if that's one of your first instincts, and to say, oh, anyone who mentions the culture wars, we're going to, we know where you're coming from, et cetera, I couldn't despise a government more than I do this Labour government. So in other words, I am an equal opportunities hater.
There you go. That is the title of Claire's new album. Next. Dear Francis, my 15-year-old nephew came round reeking of fake watermelon and said everyone vapes now, even the dinner ladies. His mum thinks it's better than smoking, but I think we're sleepwalking into another disaster. Am I being dramatic, or are we all just pretending this isn't mental?
Yeah, you're being dramatic, and it is absolutely. The only thing that's mental are people who think that vaping is as bad as smoking. Anyway, I am a new convert to vaping.
Okay.
Having been a 40 cigarettes a day for 40 years of person.
What did you used to smoke, Claire?
Actually, for the last 20 years, I smoked, would you believe, Silk Cut Ultra, which is the lowest star.
You smoked Silk Cut? That's not smoking.
Yeah, well, 40 a day of them, it bloody is. But anyway, the point being that my father actually died of lung cancer, but on his deathbed, he called me over in front of the family and he said, and he had lung cancer, and it was because he smoked. And he said, Claire, I want you to promise me. And I said, what? And I thought he was going to say to give up smoking. He said, promise me you'll go down to Silk Cut Ultra. He knew I'd never give up smoking, but he thought, at least I can get her on the low tar. Anyway, he died 2 days later. But anyway, there we go. That is a true story. So I smoked low tar in honour of my father, and I sucked at them. So, it's never going to be any good anyway. Anyway, for, the most boring and obvious of health reasons, I had to give up smoking relatively recently, a couple of years ago. And I just couldn't imagine not smoking, right? And I tried a variety of things and, all the usual tobacco cessation implements. And then disposable vapes came along, and I thought, I quite like it. And I eventually, because I was like smoking about, I don't know, first of all, it was 10 a day, then 5 a day, then 2 a day. And all the time it was like vaping. Anyway, now I don't smoke. And now I really enjoy disposable vapes. So, of course, inevitably, because I have decided well, this is the way that I should never smoke again, the Labour government have just banned disposable vaping.
That's the real reason you hate them.
Well, it's one of the bloody big ones, yeah, because what a stupid idea that is. I mean, here we have the most successful smoking cessation tool, right? Having listened for decades to those nannying anti-smokers telling me that I couldn't make decisions about what I do in terms of risk and my own health and so on and so forth. Okay, smoking's a bad habit, but it's my bad habit, and I live in a free society, and I should be free to do it without being demonised and treated like a pariah. Anyway, I thought I was going to get a pat on the back, I thought, giving up smoking, all the public health people are going to come out and go, oh, yeah, look at her, she's vaping, she's given up smoking. What do? They say, ban vaping. So disposable vapes have gone. Anyway, there's nothing wrong. Nicotine, you can be addicted to nicotine like you can be addicted to caffeine, right? It's like, it's not the same as smoking tobacco and the combination and the toxic combination through, which I won't do the science on, through smoking a cigarette. And that is obviously what has been carcinogenic and caused real problems. Actually, vape away your watermelon vapes, right? And even if young people have never smoked and they vape, fine. Not under 18, but that's because young people under 18 are not allowed to do the same things that adults over 18 are allowed to do. It's what we say about a wide range of issues, and the government say, oh, well, what we're doing is we're just doing this because we want to stop young people. Well, that's up to parents, or it's up to young people themselves. It's certainly not up to making people like me suffer. And as for those people, I look at you, Francis, who say it's a good environmental gain.
It is. Save the planet, Claire Fox.
It is. The disposable...
Do you not want to save the planet?
No, that is like, not in the way that you mean. That is like one of those like Mr. Men things. Do you want to save the planet? Anyway, this will not save the planet, and the planet doesn't need saving in that way. Can you imagine? Disposable vapes could destroy the planet. No, they can't. Right? If it's the case that you should put your disposable vapes in a bin, provide the bins. That's fine. Or you could use, I thought one of the great ideas that somebody had was that you could get £1 back if you brought them back to the shop as a deposit, £1 off your next one, whatever. Anyway, all that's happened, because of course this was always a kind of just an irritating nannying intervention, is that the replacements for disposable vapes that the shops are now selling are almost indistinguishable from the disposable variety. Yes, you can put in a battery, but as they're only about, I think they're the same price, I'm going to use them as disposable, so it won't make any difference. And I don't just mean me. I mean, there's no difference. But anyway, it's a nonsense. I mean, actually, I don't know if you read the justification for the ban on disposable vapes that came from Ed Miliband's department, but it actually said this is going to lead to an increase in jobs and arriving at our net zero targets. What? I mean, they're disposable vapes. I mean, it's one thing saying we don't like them being littered, right? But then that's a litter issue. I don't like people dropping their Waitrose wrappers or their crisp packets, right? But this is litter. It's not. You don't have to then say that the vape itself is the problem.
You make some good points, Claire.
Thank you. You know You're wrong, because he gave me a bloody lecture on the way here about how he doesn't like vapes.
I didn't give you a lecture. I just pointed out that you didn't care about the planet and that you're a fascist.
Exactly.
You know, that's not a lecture.
No, that's just a way. Yeah, that's an ad hominem attack. Well, that's, okay, I can live with that.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah, it's just Twitter. But it's just what we do on Twitter. No, you know what I miss from smoking? I miss, and I don't drink anymore either, enjoyed it too much, a pint of Guinness and a licorice rollie.
I've got a licorice. Oh God, you've got no taste, have you?
What do you mean? That is manna from heaven.
Yeah, not in. Anyway, yeah, but I do. One of the things that had changed anyway was that one of the enjoyable leisure pursuits was obviously going to the pub
Yeah.
and having a few drinks and
Yeah.
having a smoke. And obviously the whole idea that, and we are now so micromanaged by the state that what you would do is you go and buy a pint and then you go to have your cigarette outside because you've all got used to being treated like that. Whereas now, and then they say you're not allowed to take your glass out and all the rest of it. And I mean, by the time you finish, you just think, oh my God, this is just too much, right? I just want to have a drink and a pint, right? And you're not allowed to do it, which effectively has been one of the, I think there's something about the invasion of our private sphere, private in the sense that they're private establishments. They're what we do in our leisure time, but they're also in public. They're forcing people that the only place that you can do what you want is in your own home, and even that is kind of like becoming treated as an area of suspicion because they always think, what are they doing behind those four walls? But we used to be able to go out and socialise, and they're sanitising it. You know, and these are the same people at the universities are going around policing the pronouns, right? Yeah. It's the same kind of sentiment and temperament of the kind of people who do it, which is you're not allowed to do that. No. And it's like, I'm a grown-up. I'm an old person. I'm allowed to decide how much I drink, how much I smoke, where I do it. And, of course, these things are no longer in our control. So you just feel all the time that you're losing autonomy. You're losing the capacity to be a citizen in your own country. No wonder people feel fed up and alienated.
Exactly. Let's get you back on the fags, Claire. All right. Next, dear Francis, my wife and I are locked in a full-blown tea civil war. I brought home PG tips instead of Yorkshire, and now scandal of scandals. I prefer it. She's calling it high treason. So settle this once and for all, Francis. Rank these national brews. Okay, Claire, let's do it. We've got Yorkshire, we've got PG tips, we've got Tetley and Typhoon before someone starts throwing tea bags.
Right, so the big thing is, I don't really drink tea.
Oh my, get out.
So I don't drink tea and my other half does. And one of the things that I've noticed from the tea bag controversy is that these days you buy tea bags and very often they're sort of too weak. They never quite brew. Yeah. And so he ends up using 2 tea bags. I was thinking, what the hell is that about? Right, well, buy. And he says, well, they own, and so on and so forth. Anyway, I can't participate in this ranking exercise. What I would say is that I drink coffee.
You drink coffee?
Tea. I drink coffee all the time.
Do you like a good coffee?
I like a good, well, not even a good one. I drink Nescafe. So I drink,
oh, my God, Claire.
And I'm not exactly classy on my coffee question.
You drink Nescafe? I bought you a latte on the way here.
No, well, that's a treat. It was a treat from Gales. It was even more of a treat. I loved it. But it's
I wouldn't have bothered. I would have served you some slop from the kitchen.
No, slop from the kitchen. It's not very nice, is it? But when I'm at home, I drink endless cups of instant coffee.
I was calling it slop from the kitchen because I regard Nescafe, not to say you were worthy of slop, but I regard Nescafe as slop.
Yeah, but I don't. I'm the one who has to drink it. I don't want to lecture. I just want to have a coffee.
I am going to be the nanny state in this argument.
I know. I can see. I can see. Anyway, I don't mind drinking, the most basic of coffees, but I can't participate in your ranking of tea bags. I mean, I think that Tetley's are quite good. I like Tetley's. I like the adverts.
Oh, yeah.
So if I'm going to rank them based on their kind of brand association, Tetley's adverts are good.
So Tetley's are good. I would go, this is mine, I think a good Yorkshire Gold or Yorkshire Hard Water.
Bloody hell.
What do you mean, bloody
hell?
I
know, but it's not even Yorkshire. You've got subcategories.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I'm middle class now, Claire.
I know, I've noticed.
I've worked fucking hard. I'm no longer living in Croydon.
What is the outcome of Francis' success story? He's got a different kind of brand of tea bag that he likes.
And for my father, that's already gone too far.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, I remember when my somebody in my family, anyway, brother-in-law or something, and it was like sort of somebody said, "Oh, he's gone so middle class, he drinks wine now."
Yeah,
it was like what? Wine? And then everyone was like, he drinks wine, and this was kind of a sign of total sellout of the class.
Do you know so obviously me and Constantine set up Trigonometry, and then the lad, he's a bloke now with a fiance and a baby, who became our producer, is a guy called Anton who still works with us, and who you met, and he's from Liverpool, but ever since he came to London, Trigonometry's taken off. He's grown his hair long. Have you seen that?
Oh my God.
He's got
a sign.
Yeah,
it's a sign.
He's got a little ponytail.
That is the end for me. The ponytail.
He lives in Walthamstow.
Yeah, well, that in my day that used to be rough, but I've gathered now that it's gone all it's gentrified.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
It's
now
gentrified.
associated with a particular type.
And it was
so Anton with ponytail. I mean, what are you producing? I hold Trigonometry responsible for the creation of the kind of people I spend my life arguing against.
Absolutely. And do you know what I did I gave him for his birthday?
No.
I gave him a Gales gift card. And he loved it.
Mind you, they cost a bloody fortune.
It did cost.
I mean, I'd just like to say that's very generous of you.
I did. I bought him a 50 quid Gales gift card.
You get 2 cups of coffee and a cake for that.
Yeah, I would do. I would do. And genuinely, he was thrilled.
I know, that's the worst. That's the worst.
I've never seen him happier.
No, exactly. Well, our tastes do change over the years. And which is why when you make those decisions, like, for example, my embrace of the strawberry or banana vape or the so on, what you don't need is to be lectured and hectored by someone else or have the state come in and ban it, just as an aside.
Okay, I take your point, but I will say this, Claire, and I will tell you to your face, I abhor your taste in coffee, and if it was up to me, I would ban Nescafe.
Yeah. I know, but there's an authoritarian lurking underneath there. First of all, it was vapes. Now it's instant coffee. I mean, God almighty. I mean, I want you to be hugely successful. Well, even more successful than you are being. I never want you anywhere near the seat of power. I don't want you making laws, and I don't want you in charge of how we live our lives, because I can see it would just be more limited and less free.
No, life would be better. I would rule in the South American autocrat tradition, which is a long and noble and distinguished tradition, and as we all know, has never had any negative trade-offs.
Exactly. And of course, the thing that those dictators straight away do is ban instant coffee and vaping. No, at least they've got the temerity. At least if you're going to be an authoritarian, you want to do big things, not all these petty fucking interventions in people's private decision-making. Anyway, don't let him near power, all of you. Stop him, rein him in.
But here's something that you may not know. When Hugo Chavez, the communist leader, came to power in Venezuela, he was democratically elected, but then he, did what all autocrats and communists do, in that he kind of then seized government and then blah, blah, blah. But anyway, there was one thing I agreed with. He banned golf. Because he said it wasn't a proper sport, and it was a sport of the bourgeoisie, and he banned it. And I hate golf, and I'm like, you know what, Hugo, you are a massive cunt who did huge amounts of evil, imprisoned some of my relatives. But on that one, mate, you know what, you got it spot on.
Exactly, you're going to be signing up for training schemes. Anyway, just to say something on golf it's really weird about golf, because I do, we all associate it with golf club, the kind of, can I join the golf club, snobbish middle class and all the rest of it. Right?
Yeah.
But actually, in Scotland, of all places, it was a working class sport, and it just depends where you are in the world. So I think you have to be careful not to overgeneralise.
No, I'd ban it.
Well, I've gathered that your theme is what I can ban day today.
Yeah, it is. That is. I haven't slept properly, and I had a sausage roll from Greg's, obviously. Not from Greg's, that's the former life, from Gales. And it didn't quite hit the spot.
Can I just say, Greg's. You see, I love Greg's.
You love Greg's?
I do love Gales too, but I do like Greg's. Not even the sausage rolls. I like the pies and the pasties.
You like the pasties?
Yeah.
If you're going to
I try not to eat them all the time, but I do like them.
Okay, so let's do this. Right. Now, this is one for our listeners in the north, working bloody class.
Well, I'm not even trying to do it to be like working class. I'm just saying I like the taste of Greg's.
Okay. What are your top 5 orders in Greg's?
Oh, no, I don't go in that often. I like the chicken and mushroom.
Is that number one on the Claire
I think
Fox?
that's probably number one.
Number one.
I do like the cheese and potato, I think. They've got a cheese potato. I don't know if it's cheese and potato. So I don't go in that much. For
Cheese
God's
and
sake.
potato. I know, it's a pasty.
And then beef on the third. Beef on the third. And
beef
that's it,
slice?
Yeah, your beef slice, yeah.
What about a
That would
sausage
do.
roll?
No, I'm not really keen on sausage rolls.
Oh,
But
sausage-
I'm not keen on sausage rolls per se.
Aren't you?
No, I'm not keen. I like, would you believe, I eat vegetarian sausages rather than meat ones.
You see, this is where we fall out.
I know, but it's an eccentricity, but it's true.
Yeah.
I really like vegetarian sausages, and I always slightly don't like the real ones. I think it's because I do actually feel squeamish about the insides of them. That's basically the story.
All right. Do we have time for another one, Jackie? We've got one more. Dear Francis, my new neighbour's got a sign in her window that says trans joy is revolutionary. I've never spoken to her, but now I already feel like I'm in trouble. Is this just modern neighbourliness? Have you ever felt trans joy, Claire?
No. Well, actually, that's not true. I think I felt joy about trans,
Yeah.
but that was when the Supreme Court clarified that indeed what we have is biological sex is sex, and trans identity is not to interfere in the law. So, I mean, I suppose I had some joy there. I don't really know how to make a joke of this, because in some ways the whole trans ideology issue has been such a absolute nightmare for so many people, right? It's not just led to cancellations. But yesterday I was at a briefing in Parliament from medics and doctors, and some of them were the people who would do the surgery. And it was just, I thought, oh my God, it's like when they're saying, can you imagine being asked to remove the, to do a double mastectomy, remove the healthy breast tissue of women? And I mean, anyone who's known a woman who's had breast cancer, for example, and had to have their breast removed, it's a very difficult, sad thing. The idea that you go in and demand that of a healthy...
Yeah.
And then he also, this one surgeon, talked about, the removal of the penis and the testicles. And he said it's an act of medical deception. He did say this. I know this is not a joyful way to end, but he said, and it's an act of medical deception because people say, can you make a new penis for me?
Yeah.
Well, it's like he says, we say yes. Oh, it's not a penis. It just looks like one. Right?
Yeah.
Can you make a new vagina for me or cervix for me? No, you can't. But you say yes. And he said the medical profession should stop the illusion that they are changing people's sex, because they aren't. So I'm just pointing out that, joy. Oh, God, no. And so I think that it's too serious an issue for me I don't know how to make the jokes about it. I'm happy for people to live the life that they want, but I don't think that we should affirm it or go along with it. I think it's too serious.
Yeah.
And when I said it leads to cancellations, I mean, it's destroyed the reputations and lives of so many activists who tried to point that out and really, been dragged through the mud, I mean, being called a bigot's not a joke.
Yeah.
Losing your job or your reputation because somebody thinks that you are transphobic is not a joke, because you just want to go, no, I'm just pointing out reality. So I'm sorry to end on a more serious note, but I think that if people are experiencing trans joy, then I'm not sure that's what I associate trans ideology with joy at all.
Thank you very much, Claire Fox. Anyway, trans women are women.
just to wind me up further and get a laugh.
Yeah.
Right. And no, they're not, Francis. No, they're not. But
Listen.
by the way, trans women, men who identify as women, enjoy yourself. Just keep out of women's spaces. That's all I'd ask.
Listen, gender is a social construct, and there is no such thing as biological sex.
He's determined. He's determined.
I've told you. Anyway, Claire, it's been a joy and a pleasure to have you on. Thank you so much for coming on the show. If people want to find you online, all the incredible work you do with the Academy of Ideas and all the rest of it, where can they do that?
Yeah, so academyofideas.org.uk in terms of our website, and we have the usual Substack, which is Academy of Ideas. So check that out, and we're on. We've got a Battle of Ideas, which is the festival that we run that Francis and Constantine and lots of people you'll know have spoken at over the years. But we've got a YouTube channel now called Battle of Ideas, so check that out. And you can follow me on usual channels on X, Fox_Claire.
Fantastic stuff. Thank you very much for watching and listening. Please remember to subscribe, like, leave a comment. If you like it, tell your mate. If you don't, shut your face. We'll see you here for another one next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.